Welcome back to another video, and this is my monthly haul video from products that I got during February. So welcome back, and it is time for a monthly haul video. So these are gonna be all the makeup products that I bought during February, and bit maybe exceptionally so. Most of these products I haven't reviewed them yet on my channel. I have been trying them out. The eyeshadow palette review I'm gonna be posting before this one. However, some of the eyeshadow palettes that I'll be showing haven't even made it to my eyeshadow palette review rotation yet, so some of these you will have to wait for the future, but some of the palettes you're gonna be seeing a review video before this one. But with the other makeup items, I think I'm gonna be posting doing the review video next week from when you're seeing this, so you're gonna get some initial impressions with this one. I do have to say, from February it shows that I did maybe buy a bit more than during January, and on February Monolith Shop actually had their first launch. So Monolith Shop is a European stockist for a lot of popular indie brands, so they had their first launch of the year during February, so that kind of also affected some of the products that I got. But I think I'm gonna first go through the other makeup products, then eyeshadows, and then lastly I'm gonna just show the palettes that I got during the last month. So there's gonna be mostly with the eyeshadow palettes we have some more expensive palettes because there's some indie palettes, but with the other makeup products we're pretty I'm being sticking to drugstore makeup items because I think drugstore's been doing pretty good in terms of launching new makeup items, and generally they are I rather put my bigger sums towards eyeshadow palettes than actually buying the other makeup items. So from drugstore, first ones I'm gonna show are these ones. So Morphe's been doing a slow comeback. They have had a change of ownership, and because they have had a change of ownership, they've been revamping their line, and I've been pretty curious to try out, now that they are under new ownership, what kind of products they are launching. And it's one of the more easier accessible makeup brands that are drugstore brands that are available. I can actually buy these in store, which is good. So that is why I thought to try out a few things. So first one that you will be seeing on my next week's review video is this one. So I actually bought one of the Swirl blushes. This is in the shade Intoxicated. First impressions just for this video, I actually did like this sort of cream blush formula a lot, and I will be very keen on telling more about this on my review video. Then the powder that I've been trying out, I ended up buying the loose powder. This is in the shade Translucent. A pretty basic powder. Something I'm gonna be saying from a drugstore standpoint is that with some cheaper drugstore powders, I have noticed, because the formula isn't as refined as with some high-end powders, opening them can be like opening a flower bag. The product goes everywhere. I do have to say with this one I've been pretty happy that the formula, they seem to have done a bit of refining in the fact that the formula doesn't actually go everywhere when you open the cap. And so far this has been a quite nice powder. It is, I'm trying to actually show that, maybe could you show it on or see it on the back or in the side, but for translucent powder I will have to say it is a bit more yellow leaning, but I will be discussing more about it on the actual review video. Then from W7, they came out with, during last month, a couple of new eyeshadow palettes, which one you will be seeing soon, and then they got some highlighters. So this is a highlighter that's still in my rotation, so they are in this kind of boxes that they do, and this is called Sunset Glow. So it's a very sort of gold pink leaning highlighter. Also, I'm going to be telling thoughts about this one later, but I have to try this out actually a bit more. It's a good thing I'm actually filming the review video next week, because with this one definitely I do still need a week more to try this out, to sort of get my thoughts gathered around it. Then some new things from e.l.f. So we got some of the new stuff that launched. I think e.l.f. launched them in States in January, so it took some time for them to get to Europe. So I got one of the glossier lip oils. This I will say already before the final review video, that this with the formula, it's a bit interesting texture. It's a bit almost dense when you apply this to your lips. So it is it's gonna be I'm a bit still after having this in my rotation, I'm still a bit out there how I feel about this because this is supposed to be a lip oil formula, but it is a bit a thicker and denser formula, which is quite interesting. And then I actually got one of the contour shades. This was in the shade Fair, so this is a more cool tone shades. Some people were saying that this is very pigmented, but actually when I used this, I didn't feel that this was that pigmented, especially because I have tried one of the liquid blushes, which is in the same format, and I do feel this was actually a bit easier to work with than the blushes, so that is just, again, some initial impressions. Then Makeup Revolution, so some of the new stuff that, because I've been telling now that Revolution has been killing it with their launches during this year. I think they're now in a very good row in terms of the fact how they have been, in terms of the, like how they've been like revamping their products, and their product releases have been feeling like they're better quality. So I got the Skin Silk, this is actually like a brightening concealer. I have tried the Skin Silk foundation last year, wasn't a fan of that. This is the concealer that I'm currently wearing. I have some thoughts about this one. It's definitely more of a brightening concealer rather than being this sort of a super full coverage concealer. So I'm also happy that with this one I still have a week more to try this out to get my sort of final thoughts before the review video, because there are some things that I so far like about this one, and then some things that I haven't been such a big fan of. Then they came out with these stick blushes and bronzers. I'm gonna open this up so you can kind of see the shades. I do think the packaging of these ones is actually like also like the packaging with the Skin Silk, this concealer and these ones, actually they do feel that they have also upgraded the packaging. I'm gonna show the shades closer by. So I got the fairest bronzer shade and the sort of, I think the blush shade is called Rosy Cheeks, yeah. So far this is again, initial impressions, a very soft formula. I think we finally found a cream bronzer shade from Revolution that I can somehow wear, because previously, especially with Revolutions, because this isn't the first cream liquid bronzing or contouring shade that I have tried from the brand, and the issue has been that their first shades have been green and yellow leaning. This is still a very warm leaning shade, but at least I've now felt that it doesn't look like out of place when I'm using it on my cheek. Very soft formula altogether. Again, happy to tell more about it in the review video, but so far I have been pretty impressed with these ones in terms of the fact that how effortless the formula is to work with. Then a rebuy and a new product. So I rebought the L'Oreal True Match foundation. This isn't actually the foundation I'm currently wearing. I'm just today wearing the Catrice's, the sort of glowy foundation stick that they had in their sort of a winter launch, and then I used a bit of the Skin Silk concealer that I just showed to cover some spots, so I'm having a lighter foundation day today. But this is the foundation that I've been using most days, but this is a rebuy. I have reviewed this on my channel. Again, the True Match foundation in the shade, what was the shade name, because this was the 1R or 1C. This is one of the best like shades in terms of shade match that I have had from foundations, because it's a cool tone shade with a pink undertone. So then from L'Oreal, a new product. So this again will be featured in a future review video. So this is the LumiGlow, and this is in the shade Classic Pink Ballet. I had some concerns when I got this, that is this going to be too of a, like, is it gonna give me a cast, because it has a sort of quite, it looks pink on the tube, but I'm actually gonna, like, I'm happy to say that this actually doesn't leave a cast once you blend this out, and I have been liking this. I'm usually not a big fan of like, what is this called, highlighters in this kind of stick format, because a lot of them have lifted my makeup, or they have somehow messed up the makeup that I'm using them with. But so far with this one I've been pretty impressed with the formula. It has been quite pleasant to work with. Then let's get to the plethora of eyeshadow palettes. Let's maybe do this so that I'm gonna first show the drugstore ones. So W7 came out with palettes in this kind of new format. They haven't done these acrylic packages before. They came out with this one, which is called Eye Moods Day Night palette, and then there's another one. I think the other one is supposed to be duping the Retro Glam palette from Natasha Denona, but with this one I've been kind of like having trouble thinking that which this is gonna do, because W7 mostly does dupe eyeshadow palettes. And I was thinking initially when I got this that, okay, is it the I Need a Nude from Natasha Denona, but I do think that this has the undertones of this one don't match with the I Need a Nude. I was actually initially thinking that this is just based on swatches and how this looks on pan, this looks to be something between the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude and the Huda Beauty's Rose Quartz. because some of the shades are pretty rosy leaning, but they're also pretty cool tone leaning. So I'm a bit curious when I'm gonna get to try this out, how this actually, like, what kind of looks I will get with my sort of, when I use this actually on my eyes. But just based on the swatches and how the bounce looks, this doesn't seem to be a straight out dupe, but it seems to be something like a in-between palette between two very popular high-end palettes. I do have a swatch, I think actually from all of these I do have, like, if you want to see just swatches, I do have shorts on my YouTube channel for those, so you can just check if you want to see how these are swatched out. Then this one, so I then got with the other e.l.f. stuff, the Keep It Ethereal palette, so this was their sort of dupe for the Makeup by Mario palette. Again, I'm just gonna show this quickly close by. This was in my previous eyeshadow palette review that's going out before this one, so if you want to see like in-depth thoughts about it, you can already go and watch the video. But for what is available, especially for me at drugstore, I actually do think the mattes in this one were quite, I was pretty impressed with the quality, the shimmers. We had some winners and then maybe not so many winners, but I do think that in terms of especially matte quality, this is a pretty good like drugstore neutral palette. Then another palette that was in my recent eyeshadow palette review video, so the plastic palette. This was the second palette I got in my monolith order, and this is the, well, it's no longer the newest Blend Bunny palette because they have come out with this sort of a murky mermaid themed palette. I don't remember the name of it right now, but it's no longer the newest one. Unfortunately, I wasn't such a big fan of this one. I felt that especially the matte quality with this one was much more lacking compared to all the other, because I own 3 other Blend Bunny palettes that are in the big format, and I had quite high expectation for this one because I was happy they brought out a smaller palette. But yeah, this might be something that it's probably gonna get decluttered in the future, but I'm still in the middle of my makeup rotation, so it's gonna be at least staying at the end of the rotation. Shimmers on this one very beautiful and very nice to work with, but unfortunately the mattes with this one didn't work out as I had hoped. Then the second palette that I got in my monolith order, so this was the Dead Roses by Bella Beauty bar. This was the first Bella Beauty bar palette that I ever tried from the brand. I had a bit of like 50-50 thoughts about this one. Some of the shimmers did crease on me. Wouldn't recommend this if you have a textured eyelids, because some of these shimmers definitely aren't gonna flatter if you have flatter your eyelids if you have more texture in them. And also they weren't maybe as easy to work with as some maybe other more refined indie shimmers. With the matte shades, I do think the matte shades are very high quality, but some of the shades are pretty similar, and they have kind of had the habit that it's a very pigmented and blendable formula, but because some of the matte shades are quite close to one another, I did have maybe with some of the issue that they kind of blended in together into one shade. So I don't think I'm as wowed as some other, because this has been a very influencer hyped brand on YouTube and other social media channels, but so far for me I didn't exactly fall in love with the brand, but I do think this had some good qualities to them. I do like the color story that this has. Then a palette that didn't make it to my previous eyeshadow palette review, so just like with the W7 palette, you're gonna be seeing this later. So I got the Lovers palette from Cosmic Beauty. Again, this has already like a swatch video on my channel. I'm gonna be a bit careful with this one because one of the shades did. I actually had the oddest luck, because usually I've been having pretty good luck with my eyeshadow palettes that they don't break in transit, but with the plastic palette I did have to actually repress the shade over here because this came out broken. And with this one, unfortunately, we had a bit of a similar issues, that the deep green shade over here, this also was broken, but I was kind of able to mush it back together, so I'm hoping I don't have to use alcohol to repress it completely. So this one I haven't reviewed yet, but at least based on the swatches, the shimmers especially seem to be very impactful and something I haven't seen from the brand before. They have definitely done something different with the shimmers. I have a bit concerns because for some reason the mattes in this one didn't swatch out as well, and Cosmic Beauty has been one of those indie brands that's been known for doing this very punchy matte formula that's very easy to work with, and they do it at a very great price because this is a very decently priced for an indie palette. But it could be like, you should never judge shades purely on swatches. It could be that when I use this, the mattes will perform as well as in the other palettes, but it's just something that I noticed when I swatched this out, that with some of the mattes I was thinking that, okay, what's going on here? But it could be that they work out great on your eyes. But the shimmers so far seem to be like the most impressive thing with this one, but I am interested to get this into my rotation, especially I do think the color story was very appealing because it has kind of pinks and purples, but you also have these muted greens and blues in it, so I am very curious to get this into my rotation and see how it works out. But yeah, that was actually the last thing from my February makeup haul. Comment down below what did you think about the products that I got during February. Comment down below that if you had some like favorites from last month that you got, that what those were. Or if you've been on a low buy or no buy, then tell us how that is going for you currently. If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell button if you want to get notifications from my future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope I can see you soon in another video. Bye bye!